Good morning, everyone. This week, we're going to talk about dividing our money and deciding what's important. We're going to play a game that we played together in school. It's called the Bean Game. Remember, maybe you guys remember doing this. We did it in class, and we used beans when we did it. So let's take a look at what this means. So the objectives this week, we're going to decide how to spend our money. So first, we're going to review wants and needs and budgeting. And we're going to use the bean game to help us practice budgeting. We'll have 3 activities, just like we always do. And in our slides together today, we're going to talk about budgeting using the bean game. Remember that budgeting is about making a plan to help us decide how to use our money. Budgeting is all about how much money comes in and how we use that money. The money that comes in is called income. The money that goes out is expenses. Your income needs to be more than your expenses. So don't forget, things that you have to have, like food, clothes, and housing, those are called needs. Things that you want are wants, okay? So those are things that are cool, but they're not things that you have to have, not a must. Toys, video games, even a car. You can still get around in the place that we live without a car by taking the bus. So those are wants. All right, here are 2 videos that you can watch on your own. This one is called Budgeting Basics. This one is called The Basics of Budgeting. These are really good videos, and I highly recommend that you watch them. Okay. This is a game called the Bean Game, and these beans are going to represent our budget. So for this game, we start with 20 beans. There are several categories in which we have to spend our beans, and some categories that are optional. So just like in life, there are some things we have to pay for and some things that we don't have to pay for. And we can choose to save our beans for those categories, and or we can spend them in different categories. So we can make some choices. So we're going to play this game using these beans. And again, everybody starts with the same budget. Is that how it is in real life? No. People have different budgets in real life. People make different amounts of money in real life. But for this game, we're all going to have the same budget, 20 beans. So let's look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's 20 beans. I'm going to count those in another way, just to practice counting by 2s. You might be able to tell that I grouped the beans in pairs, like shoes, in pairs by 2. So let's count them by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So we have 20 beans no matter how we count them. That's our budget. So we're going to look at how we might plan to spend our beans. Okay, these are the different categories that we have for using our beans, okay? Right away, you might be able to tell that some of the categories have a star. Think about what that might mean. I'll tell you in a minute. But not all of the categories have a star. And I want you to think about what maybe that means. This says, let's spend our beans. Okay, I'll read to you the names of the categories. So this one has a picture of a house. It has a star. And the name of the category is housing. This one also has a star, has a little picture of a turkey. The name of this category is food. The name of this category that has a picture of a car is transportation. The name of this category that has a picture of a couch or a chair, actually, with a little lamp beside it, is furnishings. The name of this category with a picture of a t-shirt and also has a star is clothing. So I've only told you the names of the categories that have stars. All right, now I'll tell you the names of the categories that don't have stars. This one has a picture of a gift, and the name of the category is gifts. This one doesn't even have a picture, but we could imagine it has a picture of a toothbrush, and the name of the category is personal care. This one has a picture of a computer, and the name of the category is communication. The last category has a picture of a mountain, and the name of the category is recreation. So what do you think that it means if the category has a star? I'll tell you. It means that the category is a need. It's something that we have to have. So as you're planning your budget, you have to spend some of your beans in that category. So those are the categories we start with. So let's review. What are the categories that have stars? Housing, food, furnishings, clothing, and transportation. Those are the things we have to have. We don't have to have recreation, or we can do it for free. We don't have to have communication, or again, we can do it for free. We don't have to have gifts, or we can make them. And we don't have to have personal care, or we can do it for free or almost free. All right, so now let's get more detailed and talk about how to spend our beans in these categories, especially in the categories that are needs. All right, let's look at our first category, which is housing. So there are 3 options here. And you can see that one of the categories already has some beans in it. So let's look at our options. Living with relatives, sharing the cost of utilities. I have to remember that. So living with relatives, that means that I might live with my mom and dad, or I might live with my brother or my sister, or an aunt or cousin. And the utilities, I have to remember, that means the lights, electricity, maybe air conditioning. Those are utilities. So that's the cheapest option. That only costs 2 beans. So if I wanted that option, I could drag my beans into, whoops, oh, that's right. I could drag 2 beans there. Okay, that's the cheapest option. The middle option says, share an apartment or a house with roommates. So if I didn't want to live with a relative, then I could get an apartment, but I don't want to live by myself, so I could have roommates. And that would cost 3 beans. That's the option that I've chosen for this game right now. So I put 3 beans in that choice. The other option is to rent my own apartment and live all by myself. And that costs 4 beans, but I don't really want to make that choice right now. So I've chosen to spend 3 of my beans here. All right, let's go to the next category. Food. Okay. The first option is cook at home and have dinner out once a week. All right, that costs 2 beans. And that's the option that I've chosen here. I'm okay cooking at home. I like to have dinner out, but I don't need to do it very often. So I'm okay having the 2 beans here and having 1 that I'm not going to spend right now. So I leave it over here. The second option that I didn't choose was to have frequent fast food lunches and a weekly dinner out. That means that almost every day I would go out for lunch to McDonald's or Taco Bell or Popeyes to have my lunch and still go out to dinner at a nice place once a week. That would cost 3 beans. And the other option that I did not choose is to eat out every single meal. That's very expensive, and that would cost 4 beans. I did not choose that option either. All right. The next category is clothing. I have many options here. So for clothing, we have two different places we need to spend money. We have clothing and we have laundry. Okay, so I need to buy clothes sometimes and I need to do the laundry. So I've chosen only to spend 1 bean for clothing. Let's look at how I spent that. I chose to spend my 1 bean by going to discount or thrift stores and buying used clothes. I don't have to buy new clothes right now. I can just buy used clothes at the discount or thrift store. So that would be like going to Salvation Army or going to Goodwill. Or if I shop online, I could shop at ThredUp or Poshmark. So there are different ways to get used clothes that are really good, but they're not new. And when I do the laundry, I can go to my parents' house to do the laundry, so I don't have to pay for it. That costs nothing. So I'm only spending 1 bean, and I'm saving 2 beans over here. You might want to do something different. Let's look at the other options. All right. The first choice is to wear your present wardrobe. That means to wear the clothes you have right now and don't buy anything new. That costs nothing. It says no cost. The second choice is use your sewing skills. That means you buy the fabric and you make your own clothes. That costs 1 bean. We've already talked about the choice I made, which is go to a discount or thrift store and buy used clothes. That costs 1 bean. And the other choice here is shop for designer clothes. That means go to very expensive stores. That costs 3 beans. Okay, for the laundry options, it says do laundry at your parents' house. That costs nothing. That's the one I chose. Or go to the laundromat and occasionally dry clean something. That costs 1 bean. Or rent or purchase a washer and dryer to have in your house. That costs 2 beans. All right, let's go to the next slide. See what's next. Gifts. This category does not have a star. So we don't have to buy anything in this category. We don't have to spend any of our beans if we don't want to. I did choose to, you can see. So let's see what our choices are. One option is make our own gifts. That only costs 1 bean. I could have chosen that. The second choice is to purchase cards or small gifts occasionally. That's what I chose. I would like to buy gifts for my parents sometimes. And for my children, I need to buy gifts for my kids. They'd be really upset if I didn't buy gifts for them. The third choice is purchase frequent gifts for family and friends. This means I buy presents all the time for people. That costs 3 beans. That's a little too expensive, so I did not choose that one. And again, you don't have to buy anything in this category. You can make your own. Often people are very happy if you make them cookies or make them some other little thing to eat or make them a card. Okay, remember, is this category a need? You can tell because there's a star. That means there is a need here and you have to choose something. But the good news is there is a no cost option, which means it's free. That option is walk or bike. Ask yourself this. Could you walk or bike to Rock Terrace from your house? I could not. I live too far from Rock Terrace. I think it would take me, oh goodness, I don't know, like 4 hours maybe to walk to Rock Terrace? I couldn't do that. I'd have to get up at like 2 in the morning in order to have time to walk to work. I don't think that would work very well for me. The second choice, the cheapest choice, says ride the bus or join a carpool. That means I would ride to work with friends. So that's a cheaper choice. That only costs 1 bean. That's the one I chose. The next option says buy fuel for the family car. So someone in your family has a car, and so you're just going to help to buy gas for that car. That costs 2 beans. The next choice says buy a used car and gas. That costs 3 beans. And the most expensive says buy a new car and gas. It is very expensive to buy a new car. So that costs 4 beans. So you can see that I chose to spend 1 bean. That means I have 3 beans that I did not spend. All right, recreation. There's no star here, which means I don't have to spend anything, but I can if I want to. Let's see what our choices are. The first choice that costs nothing says hiking, hanging out with friends. That costs nothing. I went on a hike this weekend to the park. I took my dog. That didn't cost anything. For 1 bean, I can have TV, I can buy snacks, and I can drive around. For 2 beans, I can get cable TV, I can watch sports and movies. Also for 2 beans, I can get a movie streaming service for my phone or my tablet, and I can watch movies on that and maybe stream some TV on my phone or tablet. For 3 beans, I can go to concerts, I could take a vacation, and I can go to sports events sometimes. But I chose to spend 2 beans. You can spend nothing, or you can spend however you want to for this one because there's no star. It's your choice. All right. This category is furnishings, and because it has a star, you do have to make a choice. But again, there is a no cost option. For furniture, you can borrow furniture from relatives or friends, and you know what? Sometimes they'll even give you things for free that you don't have to give back. I have so much furniture in my house, guys, that my parents have given me or that friends have given me that I didn't have to pay for. It's a good option. A second choice is you can rent furniture or live in a furnished apartment. That only costs 1 bean. Another choice is to buy furniture at a garage sale or a thrift shop. I've also done a lot of this. This costs 1 bean. You can get really good furniture at Goodwill or Salvation Army or at a garage sale for 1 bean for not very expensive at all. You can also buy new furniture for 2 beans. It's a little bit expensive, but it can be nice and it can last you a very long time. But you have to have a bed. You have to buy furniture. You have to have a table to sit at. Okay, communication. Even though you technically don't have to have a communication device because there's no star on this option, it's very frustrating if you don't have any way to get in touch with people or if other people can't get in touch with you. So you can choose to not have a phone and it doesn't cost you anything, but probably it's not the option you want to choose. You can have a phone with limited data for 1 bean. You can have a phone with unlimited data for 2 beans, and that's what I chose. I really like for people to be able to get in touch with me and for me to be able to get in touch with other people. You can have a phone that only gets Wi-Fi at your house or at other places that have Wi-Fi for 1 bean. So that's your choice. All right, personal care. So again, this is not something that you have to choose, but it's maybe something that you're going to want to. For 1 bean, you can get basic products like soap, shampoo, toothpaste, makeup that are not expensive for quite cheap, for just 1 bean. For 2 beans, you can have someone else cut your hair, and you can also get basic personal care products like soap, shampoo, toothpaste, makeup. And for 3 beans, you can get haircuts quite often, you can get your nails done, and you can get nicer personal care products. But that's a little more expensive, actually quite a bit more expensive. So this is another category that you don't have to spend a lot of money in, but you might want to. All right, now let's look and see how much money we spent. How many beans did we spend? Was it hard to make those decisions? Which categories were easy to make decisions and which ones were harder? Did you feel like 20 beans was enough? Or was it a little bit frustrating? Well, after we went through all of those slides, if you make the same choices that I did on those slides, we spent all except 3 beans. So if we start with 20 beans, 20, and we have 3 left over, that means we spent 17 beans and we have 3 left over. So later on, we can talk about what you can do with leftover beans when you have extras. You can decide to spend them or you might decide to save them. All right, so I hope that this was a good game to help you make some decisions about budgeting. Okay, you're gonna have 3 activities this week, and you're gonna decide what to do with those leftover beans, and you'll have a chance to do some thinking about how you would want to spend your beans. But that is the end of our first day activity. This was a longer first day activity than usual. I will see you guys at the day 1.